Good day, I am Midshipman Palamo Ray R and our topic is Models of Global Sustainable Development. My members are Midshipman Alvin Nicol, Midshipman Mark Andrew Notario, Midshipman Aldrin Mustakisa, and Midshipman Nuki Ashley. The first reporter is Midshipman Nicol.
Good day. Our topic for today is Chapter 20, Models of Global Sustainable Development. Learning Outcomes. Identify the different models of global sustainable development. Define the models of global sustainable development. Value the importance of global sustainable development. In the socio-economic aspects of sustainability, there are several areas of concern, especially when we considered international trends over past 20 to 25 years. As a large body evidence that the gap between the rich and the poor has been increasing dahil nagkakaroon ng patuloy na paglaki ng gap between the rich and poor people dahil minsan dahil din ito sa pamamalakad ng ating bansa sa gobyerno. Dahil yung mga taong nasa mababa o nandiyan sila sa kahirapan, minsan no, wala silang pagkakataon para umangat dahil yung yung tulong na binibigay sa kanila minsan di na pupunta sa kanila, kaya lalo silang naghihirap. Minsan binubulsa kasi ng nasa mataas na posisyon. Tapos minsan kahit na may trabaho tayo, hindi tayo maka angat-angat sa buhay dahil yung patuloy pa din yung paglaki ng paglaki ng mga gastusin kagaya ng mga bilihin o kaya mga bayarang bills, tubig, kuryente na patuloy lumalaki. Tapos yung sahod sa ating bansa ay hindi naman tumataas, nasa mababa pa rin pero yung bilihin mataas. Pero minsan, di natin din pwede sisi sa gobyerno kung bakit yan yun. Minsan, nasa atin din yan sa pagrespeto ng ating sarili. Kaya ganon. Tapos minsan, dahil din naman ito talaga sa minsan kakulangan ng pag-aaral kasi importante din talaga ang mag-aral tayo para hindi tayo palagi nasa ibaba o nasa ibaba na kasi kapag may pinag-aralan ka, mas malaki yung posibilidad na makaangat ka sa buhay. Pero hindi lahat ng bagay din naman pwede natin isisi sa ating gobyerno. Kasi yung minsan naman may mga pinag-aaral ngayong ating gobyerno pero hindi naman ito pinapahalagahan. Na, edi sana, mas maganda sana yun kung napunta na lang sa mga taong naghihirap. Pero kung minsan, kung sino pa yung nasa angat, sila pa din yung inuuna ng gobyerno kaysa yung mga taong nasa ibaba. Then, human rights violation are still endemic in many countries. Yung human rights violations, parang talamak din pa din siya sa ibang bansa dahil din ito kung minsan kagagawan din na minsan sarili natin na hindi na minsan may mga bagay talaga na minsan akala natin tama pero mali pala, di natin nasusunod yung batas. Tapos minsan din kung sino yung humahawak sa batas ay inaabuso nila yung batas. Tapos yung mga sasagasaan dito ay ang mas o yung mas nasa mababang posisyon sa buhay o kumbaga kung sino lang yung makaya nila, yung mga umaabuso sa batas, doon nila inaano yung pang-aabuso sa mga halos walang alam parte sa batas. O sa mga parang kung mapagtripan lang nila, kung ganon, inaabuso nila yon. Kaya din natin, di rin maiwasan kung minsan kung ganon, lalo na kung nasa karamihan na gumagawa nito ay yung nasa humahawak talaga ng posisyon, kung yung nasa itaas kumbaga. Tapos debt and economic salary are still prevalent. Oo, laganap pa rin yung utang sa ating economy kumbaga dahil di rin natin 'to maiwasan sapagkat hindi rin natin maiwasan minsan na may nangyayari sa ating bansa na di natin inaasahan kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng utang o kahit na tayo mismo ay nagkakaroon ng utang dahil Kumbaga, may mga bagay na dumadating talaga sa buhay natin na di natin inaasahan na magkakaroon tayo ng problema lalo na sa financial. Or may mga bagay din na kahit pa may wala tayong dumadating na gaano kahirap na na paglalaanan ng gastos, di natin maiwasan na ganyan dahil minsan kahit anong trabaho natin minsan kulang pa din dahil sa mga mahal yung mga pambili natin, especially sa pangunahing pangangailangan natin, na kung minsan yung sahod natin ay kulang pa, lalo na kung tayo ay nangungupahan lamang. Then, a large proportion of the world's children lived in poverty, ethnic groups, indigenous people, and other minorities in numerically rich countries are generally at risk. Oo, napupunta sila sa yung mga indigenous people, napupunta sila sa risk pag nasa rich country sila, dahil pag rich country, yung patuloy gumaganda yung lugar nila, pero yung lugar naman nila, kumbaga yung mga lugar na nandun yung mga mahihirap na tao, halimbawa, yung mga kaya lang nila gawin doon, hindi na nila magawa dahil nasasakop na ito ng mga ginagawang mga business, ganun. Kaya hindi na sila makagawa ng kung ano yung kaya nila. Lalo na yung mga indigenous people, kasi sila yung mga tao na parang iba yung may iba silang paniniwala, mas gusto nila na nandun lang sila kung nasan sila, tapos may mga sinusunod lang sila na kanila lang din mismo. Kumbaga sarili lang nila yung iniisip nila, kumbaga sakto na sila sa gantong bagay pero naaabuso pa din sila dahil sa paglaki ng isang lugar, dahil sa pagyaman. Then preventable and treatable diseases are prevalent in rich countries. The disease of civilization, circulatory disease, cancer, mental illness. Sa mga mayayamang lugar, di natin maiwasan na magkaroon ng circulatory disease talaga. Kasi kapag mayaman yung lugar nyo, kulang na kayo sa parang mga fresh, yung pangunahin dyan, yung sariwang hangin. Tapos, pangalawa dyan, na yung mga makakain yung parang mga fresh talaga, yung walang halong chemical ganun, tapos makakain mo agaran. Kasi pag rich country na, parang overpopulated na kayo sa mga sa mga parang yung lugar nyo parang di na siya gaanong fresh kasi madaming sasakyan, factory, tapos mga fast food o kung ano-ano pa dyan na di natin maiwasan na nakakasama din to o nakaka-apekto din to sa ating sa ating environment. Kasi pag marami ang sasakyan, yung hangin natin yung nalalanghap natin di na fresh air. Di na siya sariwa kumbaga. Kaya nagkakaroon ng mga sakit yung mga tao dahil yung pamumuhay nila ay iba na. Hindi na namamalayan ng ganito dahil sa nasa isang lugar sila, sa kanan nila nalalaman na may sakit pag nagkakasakit na sila. Parang doon na sila umiiwas sa mga ganyang lugar. Kaya minsan, mas maganda pa din na hindi ka nandun sa parang city or parang rich country. Kasi parang na doon ng mga usok kumbaga. Lalo na yung mga usok ng mga sasakyan. Parang nakakasama talaga yun sa atin o kung ano-ano pa man na di maganda sa kalusugan natin. Then, a large proportion of the world's population is still illiterate. Karamihan talaga sa mga lugar natin ay kulang talaga ng mga pinag-aralan, which is di natin masisisi din. Minsan kasi, yung mga, lalo na yung mga nasa malalayong lugar o yung may hirap na lugar, na kailangan talaga ng may pinag-aralan talaga sila o may alam para hindi sila maging parang mangmang sa ating sa ating lipunan. Para maganda kasi pag may pinag-aralan ka, kasi parang hindi ka basta-basta mauuto ng kahit sino. Kumbaga may alam ka. Pero minsan kaya din maiwasan na kulang talaga kahit anong gusto mo, pag wala talagang suporta o walang pumupunta sa inyo, mahihirapan ka talaga, lalo na kung nasa malayo kang lugar. There are still many refuges resulting from war, political persecution, environmental destruction, and economic hardship. There are still main refuges talaga na magiging result from war or kahit ano pa dyan, or political persecution, environmental destruction, and economic hardship. Dahil minsan sa lugar natin, di natin maiwasan yung mga ganyan, lalong-lalo na minsan karamihan sa ibang lugar na yung paghihirap nila doon ay hindi nalulutas agad o hindi nabibigyang pansin. Kaya minsan dahil sa pagkakaroon ng ganyang di maayos na pangyayari o kakulangan, di maiwasan na ganun ang maging resulta ng lugar nila o yung populasyon nila. Kaya kung ganun yung palagi na lang ganun, di talaga palagi na lang ganun na di nagkakaayos, di talaga maiwasan na magkaroon na meron pa ding mga refuges na sa mga iba't ibang lugar o kahit sa ating lugar minsan. Then the dominant economic system leads the inequities in the access to resources.
Good day to all of you. My name is Midshipman Notario Mark Andrew P. from NS2A2, and today we will gonna discuss about the 17 sustainable goals that the nation must strive to achieve. The first one is the no poverty. It is to end poverty in all its forms. Then the second is zero hunger. It means to end hunger and achieve security and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. The third is good health and well-being. It is to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for at all ages. The fourth sustainable goal is quality education. It is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promotes lifelong opportunities for all. Then the fifth one is gender equality. It is to achieve gender equality and empowers all women. The sixth is clean water and clean sanitation. It is to ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation at all. Then the seventh is the affordable and clean energy. It is to ensure access to affordable, reliable, and sustainable and modern energy for all. Then the eighth one is decent work and economic growth. It is to promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, decent work for all. That's all on my report, and 9 to 17 sustainable goals will be reported by Midshipman Aldrin Mustasisa.
So good day, I'm Mustasisa Aldrin Jude E from NS2A2. So I will continue the discussion. Industry, innovation of infrastructure. Industry and innovation relies on effective infrastructure like safe roads, transportation, clean water, and electricity to function on a local and international level. We all have a role to play in helping the UN achieve its goal to create a world where everyone has access to improved infrastructure industry and innovation by the few years. Because when good infrastructure is in place, entrepreneurs can make existing product or service even better. And nation prosper for the benefit of everyone. Infrastructure is all around us. It's the sidewalk we walk on, the server, the supply of running water, the data center that link us up to the internet. When infrastructure is strong, people are able to connect and work together on new innovation. And this in turn creates more job and support a thriving economy. Roads and bridge allow goods to be transported from producers to retailers. They enable people to get to work when roads are in good condition and adequately serviced. Economies run smoothly. So, for example, when the tropical storm hit the Philippines, flash flood and landslide damaged countless road and bridge, making it difficult for relief to make it way to where it was most needed. Lots of business were affected, meaning the economies of those countries suffered too much. So the communities with damaged infrastructure can remain without water and electricity for weeks or smooth after a natural disaster. So next topic is the reduce inequalities. We all deserve to live in a world where everyone is treated equally, regardless of our gender, age, ethnicity, our religious belief, economic status, or where we live. Equality gives everyone access to a level playing field to live the life they dream of living. And we all have a role to play in helping the UN reduce inequalities by the few years. Inequalities exist among individuals. The richest 1% of the people on earth own half of the world's wealth. But what if the wealth was distributed among more people? It would make life it better for the bottom of 40% of the global population who subsist in meager incomes and are often discriminated against because they are poor. Inequality also exists among nations. Developed countries like Germany, the largest economy in Europe, are considered to be more influential on the global stage because it has strong trade links with other powerful countries and it is a member of powerful international organizations like NATO. But what if developing economies like Philippines had an equal say on issues like monetary policy? Would not a more inclusive global governance benefit more people? Inequality has existed for centuries. Great nations were built in the backs of slave men, women, and children bought in markets by powerful people who considered them commodities, not people. So, what are the lasting impacts of this kind of inequality? Inequality can be a gender issue when women are paid less than their male coworker or a racial issue when ethnic minorities are unfairly targeted by police just because of the color of their skin. So next topic is the sustainable cities and communities. Everyone deserves to live in a world where our cities and communities are designed to be inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. But the idea of sustainable city is not new. Ancient civilizations like the Greeks designed cities for the benefit of all citizens. They made it easy to travel by planning street in straight lines. They kept everyone fed and watered by setting up markets and building aqueducts, and even pioneered public parks where citizens could relax in nature. Today, our definition of liability has evolved to reflect the needs of the people living in the modern world. We want people to feel safe to travel through their communities, to have access to affordable housing and connect with their neighbors in shared space and at public events because communities thrive when people develop a sense of ownership and belongings. It's easy to feel isolated from the community. It happens in big cities where buildings are not designed to give disabled people access. It happens in small town will reduce public transport links, make it impossible for the elderly to participate in society. But lots of good things are being done to help people feel connected to their communities. Next is the responsible consumption and production. We all deserve to live in a world where everyone's needs are met without harming the planet. When we produce and consume just enough of what we need, we reduce the amount of waste contaminating our waterways and clogging up our green spaces. And we can use ethical materials to package goods and power our buildings and industries using renewable energy sources. We all have we all have a role to play in helping the UN ensure the sustainable consumption everywhere by the few years. In 1940s, Britain thrift fitness was deemed patriotic with the Second World War raging and resources limited, rationing controlled what the goods people could purchase. Campaign like Make Do and Mend so women give old clothes new life and the government even made food waste a criminal offense. Issuing recipe books to encourage people to grow their own foods and make the most of what they had. Responsible consumption contributed towards the war effort. What could it achieve today? So, the global marketplace gives 21st century consumers access to a wide range of goods at cheap price. But the means of our habits as consumers are changing. With so much choice at our fingertips, we are far less likely to repair and reuse old things. And far more likely to buy new things instead, with people in developing countries now starting to have access to those products too. That creates an even greater strain on production. But what happens when we are done with things? So where do they go? So we dump over 20,000 taxi cabs full of electronic devices every year, but many of them contain hazardous materials that can seep into our water supply. If not disposed of properly, it's easier to prevent bad habits than to break them. But good people everywhere. So, working on both in the Bahamas and humanitarian organization Hands for Hunger is collection surplus for food hotels, cruise ship, and markets and distributing it to those who needs it most in Japan. Residents in the village of Kamikatsu recycle almost 100% of all waste products. They separate their trash into 34 categories, including food, aluminum, and paper. So, in the US, Nike leads the way in the socially responsible production. They've created Nike grind footwear and clothing range using recycled water bottles and other renewable materials. If we're mindful of our consumers' habits and companies are mindful of their production processes together, we can build a world where nothing goes to waste. So next is the so climate action. So we all deserve to live in a world where flora and fauna of every shape and are given to condition to survive and thrive. It's possible to reverse the effect of climate change, which threaten all life on Earth. And we all have a role to play the helping UN achieve this goal by the few years. Our world is beautiful place. It is home to countless life forms from the mammals and of Antarctica and the fish of the Gold Coast coral reef to US in our stunning cities. But it can be a harsh environment too. Life on Earth has always been at the mercy of the elements. Natural disasters like flood can wash away whole ecosystem. So forest fires lays waste to swath of land. Hurricanes and earthquakes level settlements and make living incredibly precarious. So these natural processes have created and shaped the land for the millennia. But studies show that rising temperature in Earth is atmosphere are making natural disasters like this much more frequent and more severe. So, global warming is a man-made modern phenomenon. So, it began with the industrial revolution. New machine automated tasks and helped businesses owners to make lots of money. But because they relied on the burning of fossil fuel to function, factories dotted throughout the land churn out clouds of poisonous gases. So, and it changed the delicate balance of Earth's atmosphere. Since then, climate change has been exacerbated by a growing global population. So, global warming is now at crisis levels in China. At air can be so toxic that sometimes citizens wear face masks, and in the Arctic, the ice caps are melting, making it impossible for wildlife to survive. But eco-heroes everywhere are taking action against climate change. So, in the US, car manufacturer General Motors is working in partnership with government to tackle climate change. It was one of the first signatories of the American Business Act on Climate Pledge, and it is investing heavily in electrification, thereby helping to cut down on greenhouse gas emission. Architects around the world are creating eco-friendly houses and reducing their carbon footprints by replacing harmful concrete with natural materials like mud bricks and recycled shipping containers. And Vancouver school children are working with the city's urban forestry program of offset the effect of deforestation by planting lots of new trees in their own neighborhoods, which consume dangerous dioxide, carbon dioxide and produce healthy oxygen. Together with we can create a safe, resilient, and sustainable future for everyone. So next is so life below water. So everyone deserves to live in a world when life below water is valued and protected. Aquatic animals make up 80% of life on Earth, and they rely on our health survival as we rely on oceans, not just for food but for the air we breathe, because sea life produces over half the oxygen in an atmosphere. So we all have a role to play and help the environment to restore and protect the life, and no water by the year for the few years. So we ventured below the surface. Will be explored colorful corals, reef. We search the rivers and lakes that cut through our land and travel with the high seas, marveling at ducks and dolphins and lagoons as clear as the blue sky. It is this abundance of life that everyone hopes to maintain, but the ocean have become a dumping grounds. They are under threat for climate change and pollution. So officially getting caught up in plastic packaging and drowning others are eating plastic microbreads. So contained in everything plastic from toothpaste to skincare products, rice, and temperatures are starving seas of oxygen, making it impossible for the life. We know the water to survive, but good people everywhere are working hard to protect our waters. Greenpeace is lobbying global leaders to create an Arctic Ocean sanctuary 5 times the size of German, where fishing, mining, and drilling is outlawed. So, providing a safe haven for native wildlife in Ireland, the Clean Coast Initiative works with volunteers of all ages to clean beaches littered with trash brought in on the tide, and in California, green roots are protecting the seas by absorbing acid rain contaminated with pollutants that would otherwise run off and infect the water system. It's our responsibility to protect the world's waterways, and everyone has a part to protect our environment. So next is the life on land. So we all deserve to live in a world where life on land is protected by humans, make up just 0.01% of all life on Earth, yet we have the power to protect it for generations to come, and everyone has a role to play in helping the UN secure the future of terrestrial life everywhere by the few years. So, Tears are the Earth lifeline. They store harmful carbon dioxide and pump out the oxygen we breathe. Bees are vital to the global food chain. They pollinate crops we rely on for food. What do you think would happen if bees became extinct on our habits? As consumers, we contributing towards deforestation. We make lots of things from the wood like furniture, cooking, utensils, and even homes. Doing so means we have to cut down more trees to meet the demand, but the means destroying ecosystem that lots of animals rely on to survive. But progress is being made in major cities. Across the United States, the Earth Day Network are creating green spaces in urban environments where we can grow more trees to promote wildlife. In the concrete jungle and improve quality of life for residents. And in Madagascar, where slash and burn agriculture has scared the natural landscape, locals are convincing farmers to protect rather than destroy trees by promoting their islands as tourist destination. They are inviting ecotourists to spend time and money there, which is helping farmers to make money in other ways. We rely on life on land to survive as it relies on us. What can you do to protect life on land? Where do you live? So next is the peace, justice, and strong institution. Everyone deserves to live in a world that is peaceful and safe for human. So, protected by law and where we can count on our government to function, we all have a role to play in helping the UN reach their goal of peace, justice, and strong institution everywhere by the few years. Did you know that there are many ways to define peace? Some define it just absence of war and violence. This is known as the negative definition, but others define it positively, a feeling of safety and stability, knowledge that our voices matter, and trust in our fellow humans. Sometimes our definition are impacted by our own cultural identities and past experience. How would you define peace? But not everyone in the world feels safe and secure. Nation wage war on each other and sometimes themselves, or can end the lives of people and also destroy the institution we count on making life feel unstable. Crime is on the rise, but many citizens don't trust government to address the root causes of crime. And many people, kids especially, also experience interpersonal violence, whether it's domestic abuse at home or ongoing bullying at school. But progress is being made worldwide. In fact, many claims that we are currently living in the most peaceful time in human history, but there's still much to be done. So, through the Black Lives Matter social media campaign, activists across the US are demanding justice and accountability from police forces in Northern Ireland, where Catholic fought with Protestant for civil rights during the Troubles. Project like Hopes for Youth are bringing children together to encourage cross-community friendship and build reconciliation. It's possible to achieve peace, justice, and strong institution everywhere in our lifetime. Together, we can make the world a fair place for all. So, next is the partnership for the goals. So, global challenges require global solution. We need people with different skill, ideas, and customs to work together to solve problems that affect us, and we all have a role to play helping the UN foster new and existing partnership everywhere to achieve their 17 sustainable development goals by the few years. The air belongs to everyone, so it's up to every nation to make it cleaner, and that start with cutting back on CO2 emission. If only half the world is working toward this goal while the other half pumps out greenhouse gases, it will be impossible to achieve partnership between nations. Give us hope that even a problem like climate change can be solved, but partnerships are not simple, they require equality and mutual respect. If an outbreak of influenza threatens the health of the nation, government, official, doctors, and people on the community need to communicate, compromise, and collaborate to contain the illness and keep people safe. If they can't work together, partnership can break down before solutions are found, but good people everywhere are working hard to promote togetherness and cooperation the the world, or in the infrastructure means that lots of rural households don't have electricity. So it was necessary to look outwards for partners who could help. They recognize that China has vast experience in renewable energy production, and the United Nations developed program facilities collaboration between nations today. This partnership is making life better for millions. Global issues like climate change, disease, and poor in infrastructure affect everyone. So that's all for my topic. So next reporter, please. Thank you.
Roads, transportation, clean water, and electricity to function on a local and international level. We all have a role to play in helping the UN achieve its goal to create a world where everyone has access to improved infrastructure, industry, and innovation by the year 2030. Because when good infrastructure is in place, entrepreneurs can make existing products and services even better, and nations prosper for the benefit of everyone. Infrastructure is all around us. It's the sidewalks we walk on, the reservoirs that supply running water, the data centers that link us up to the internet. When infrastructure is strong, people are able to connect and work together on new innovations, and this, in turn, creates more jobs and supports a thriving economy. Roads and bridges allow goods to be transported from producers to retailers. They enable people to get to work when roads are in good condition and adequately serviced. Economies run smoothly. When the tropical storm Nate hit the South American countries of Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and Honduras in 2017, flash floods and landslides damaged countless roads and bridges, making it difficult for relief to make its way to where it was most needed. Lots of businesses were affected, meaning the economies of those countries suffered too. Communities with damaged infrastructure can remain without water and electricity for weeks or months after a natural disaster. But they can also
Sustainable Development Goals. These SDGs was established on January 1, 2016 by United Nations, expected that over next 15 years, countries expand their resources to mitigate, if not indicated, poverty and inequality, so as well as reverse climate change. So, ang SDG or Sustainable Development Goals is 15 years na plano sa atin. Yung unang SDG na nga is yung No Poverty, and poverty in all its form. So, the SDG 1, which is No Poverty, kung saan yung namumuhay tayo na walang dumadanas na kahirapan. SDG 9, Industry Innovation of Infrastructure. Build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. So, sa SDG 9 is where our industries, innovation, and infrastruktura ay hindi lang ito yung para magpayaman, sapagkat para mapabuti ang ating buhay. SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. Make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. So, sa SDG 11 is kung saan yung mga tao ay mamumuhay ng maunlad at likas na sumusuporta sa mga naninirahan doon. SDG 12, Responsible Consumption and Production. Ensures sustainable consumption and production patterns. So, sa SDG 12 is mamumuhay tayo kung saan yung binabalik natin yung kinuha natin sa ating kalikasan. SDG 13, Climate Action, takes urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. So sa SDG 13, kung saan mumuhay tayo na magte-take action tayo para puksain ang banta ng climate change. Sustainable Development Goals 14, which is life below water, conserves and sustainably uses the ocean, sea, and marine resources for sustainable development. So sa SDG 14, kung saan mamumuhay tayo, naaalagaan natin ang ating karagatan or ocean, sea, or marine sources. SDG 15, Life on Land, protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage ores, combat desertification, and half and reverse land degradation, and half biodiversity loss. So sa SDG 15, kung saan pinapahalagaan natin ang kalupaan, kagubatan, mga hayop, at ang ating daigdig. SDG 17, Partnership for the Goals, strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development. So sa SDG 17, Partnership for the Goals, is dapat tayong magtulungan para mapasatuparan natin yung sustainable development goals sa buong mundo.